Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video on my channel. Now, if you recall or if you haven't watched it yet, I highly recommend going and watching my video that I posted on Friday. But I went over why on earth is the stock market crashing. Now, when I made that video, it was a bit premature on Friday because later on in the day, in the evening, UK time, we had a massive explosion in terms of everything that was happening. And this is going to be a sort of overall outlook on what's happened with the stock market, and particularly one stock that has caused the entire market to crash since Friday. And I do expect a lot more volatility this week. It's going to be a very, very interesting week. So keep up to date with all the news. I'll be posting a lot more videos this week covering this news. So what has happened? Well, as you can see from my portfolio, if we go back just a week ago, we were up about 2.13% overall. And right now we are down 3.23%. So we were up £800 and we're now down 1.2k. So I have lost over £2,000 in the last sort of few days, couple of days of the market being open on 40,000 invested. Now, I see that only 4 point something percent of my audience is from the UK, so I'm guessing the rest of you from other countries. I'm based in the UK. I'm 21 years old, own a couple of businesses. That's how I'm able to invest. Now, just for those people that aren't in the UK, essentially in the UK, I think it's similar to a Roth IRA in the US. We call it an ISA. It's called a stocks individual savings account, and it's essentially a tax-free essentially a tax-free stock account. So any gains that you make in your ISA, they call it, is completely tax-free. So you're able to put £20,000, roughly $25,000 a year in this account. Any gains you make are completely tax-free. Okay. So let's go ahead and see what on earth has been happening over the last few days. And we're going to be going pretty deep in this video. But before we get into it, let's take a look at see what's happening. S&P 500 down almost 3% today. As you can see, we touched £59 per share. If we take a look over the last 3 months, you can see it's the lowest it has been. Well, not the lowest actually, but pretty much the lowest it has been in a while. So now's a great time to buy, in my opinion. This won't hold. This is going to be very short term. So if you're looking to buy some more S&P 500 shares, then I recommend doing so. As you can see, I currently have £600 in my ISA. So what we're going to do, this is left for the year. So I'm just going to go and put another £200 in, which £100 of that will go to the S&P. Because you get 20,000 a year to contribute, and I've contributed that 20k, but not all of it has been invested. But there we go. We just put another £200 in. S&P 500 down 2.86% today, 6.47% for the week. The FTSE emerging markets down 5% for the week. All world high dividend yield is down. Let's see, 5% for the week. All world FTSE all world is down 6%. Vanguard the FTSE 100, which is the top UK 100 companies, is down 4.62% for the week. Physical gold is up because, of course, people need somewhere to store their money, because we're going to be going over that in a minute. Global water down, and clean energy is down as well. So a bit of a rough week here. As you can see, today has been pretty tough. We've lost over £700 today. Starting to rebound a little bit here, but nothing too crazy, okay? So, yeah, a bit of a rough day. So what has happened? Well, if we go over to Market Watch, which is a big sort of stock market slash just market in general, financial market newsletter website where you can follow all the latest news. As you can see, SVB collapse means stock market volatility. What investors need to know as US rescues depositors. So SVB, what is this? And collapse. This is one of the biggest banks in the US for startups. This is called Silicon Valley Bank, and they provided capital for startups. They went bankrupt. They went under on Friday. Now, if we go back over to Trading 212, which is the brokerage I use here, and we search for SVB, you can see that they have been suspended due to regulatory reasons. So that's interesting. But if we take a look at the max, or even if we take a look at 1 week, okay, on Wednesday, they were trading at 267. Thursday, they were down. And then Friday, they came to a complete collapse at $100. So if we could take a look at the max chart, you can see even just a couple of years ago, I mean, this thing was trading at $700. And you can see they had a peak of $323 on January January 30th, and they're now worth $106, down 62% in a week, and it's just been a rough time for them. So they went under. So what does this mean, and how has this affected all financial markets? Well, this is one of the biggest bank collapses in many, many, many years. And a lot of people were saying, no, they're too big to fail, this, that, and the other. Now, look, I personally believe they will be bailed out. If not, they'll be bought by another bank. If not, they'll be bailed out by the US government, which means more money printing, which is unfortunate because that means more inflation for everyday goods. However, we know what happened when back in 2020 when they were printing a ton of money. Every single stock went up. Every single crypto went up. If we take a look at the max chart here, you can see in 2021 and 2022, the S&P 500 had its all-time highs because they were printing a hell of a lot of money. And where did that money go? Well, it went back into businesses. So it makes sense for the S&P 500, the tracker of the top 500 companies in the US, would pump, because if you're getting a government grant every single month of like $1,200, right? A COVID grant, they called it. What are you going to do with that money? You're going to spend it on Amazon. You're going to buy things on Amazon. If we take a look at Amazon's price. Okay, let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon here, you can see that they rallied up and they had their all-time high back in 2021 and 2022, right? So, yeah, people were getting a ton of money from government grants and all this kind of things, which meant a lot of money was being pumped into the markets. So why has this had a massive effect? Well, another reason this had a massive effect is because, of course, one of the biggest banks in the world have gone under. People thought they were too big to collapse. Obviously, it showed not that, it's not. It can still fail. So people were obviously very skeptical and very nervous and understandably very scared for their money. So a lot of people were pulling out of the stock market. Now, if we take a look at my dividend portfolio, which has also taken a massive hit. But remember, you don't actually lose money in the stock market until you sell. But yeah, I mean, you can see Annaly Capital Management, which is diversified capital management investments across mortgage finance. Yeah, they've taken a massive hit last week. Everything is down. All banks have taken a hit. I own Barclays Bank. Charles Schwab is down a huge amount. Just all banking, all financial related companies, stocks are down. JP Morgan is down, but hasn't been as affected just because it's a giant. But yeah, all markets have been affected by this because you never know. Some of these companies may have money in SVB. And if they do, that is bad news, of course, because, their money's gone. However, the US government and other people are trying to bail them or are going to bail them out, which means that, people will actually get their money back, hopefully. So what is rescue? What does it mean for stock market volatility? But before we get into this news article, let's take a look at the crypto market as well, because people are obviously scared of stocks. People are scared of everything. We'll take a look at the price of gold as well. Everything was absolutely just coming down like a rocket because of this bank crash. So people were thinking, well, where to put money? Now, another big reason that the crypto market is pumping is because this coin here, USD coin or USDC, this is a stable coin. This is backed 1-to-1 with the US dollar. However, these guys held about 7% of their reserves, 7% of their cash reserves, which allow them to maintain peg at SVB Bank. So they've got about $40 billion in reserves. About 3.3 to 4 billion of that was lost due to SVB crashing. So you can see this thing absolutely collapsed down to about, it was less than this. It was actually about 88 cents, right? This is a stable coin, guys. This is supposed to hold its peg. It's held its peg ever since it came out at $1 back in 2018. You've got other stable coins such as Tether, such as DAI. You've got BUSD there, and a few other stable coins that people use. However, USD was the biggest and was the main sort of stable coin that people used. Okay, that were more comfortable. That people were most comfortable with using USD coin. So USDC held a bunch of their reserves with SVB Bank. SVB Bank goes down. USD starts to lose its peg because obviously they can't back it up, and people were shorting it, people were selling it and dumping it off. Now, I did actually make a trade on USD coin. I longed it at 10x leverage, and I've made about 20-30% on that trade, which is quite nice. But anyway, the reason Bitcoin's pumping, the reason Ethereum is pumping, all of these cryptos are pumping is because they wanted to rotate out of stable coins. Now, I do hold a lot of stable coins, own a crypto business, and I get paid in stable coins for that business. So I do still hold a ton of stable coins. I did hold a lot of USDC. However, I moved it over to Tether because, you know, it basically lost 10% of its peg. However, I wasn't willing to risk everything to make 10% back. So I just moved it over and took a 10% hit on that portfolio. But yeah, so that's why everything's pumping right now, is because people want a safe place to store their money. Stablecoins obviously have proven that it can be, you know, it's not too big to fail. They can hold money in places where it's not safe. And people worried about that. So they rotated out, buying Bitcoin, Ethereum. That is why we're seeing this 10% pump here over the last few days. Gold price. If we take a look at the gold price here, you can see if we take a look at the 4-hour chart, here, you can see that today, since the market opened this morning, will be the 13th. As you can see, we are starting to pump. So since the market's opened, gold has actually made long position. So let's see. Yeah, they opened right here. Gold is actually up 2% right now. You can see down here it's down 2.18% today because of the crash on the bank. So let's take a look here. US regulators came to the rescue of Silicon Valley Bank depositors late Sunday, triggering a modest relief rally in stock index futures. So they have gone ahead and rescued Silicon Valley Bank. Financial regulators said depositors at Silicon Valley Bank would have all access to the deposits on Monday morning. That includes uninsured deposits, those exceeding the FDIC's $250,000 cap, in a move that analysts said would help avert run similar to the event capsized SBV from occurring elsewhere. The stockholders, however, will be wiped out still. Regulators said New York Signature Bank was also closed on Sunday and said depositors will also be made whole. So a lot of stuff going on here. They are being bailed out, which means USD coin is pretty much back at peg, or will probably hit peg today. I don't know how long it will hold. People aren't going to trust this much, I don't think, anymore, because it's just very, very, dodgy territory. If they're holding money in banks that can go down, what are they doing, kind of thing, So a lot of distrust there. But what's happening to the stock market? So obviously, there's going to be a lot more volatility this week, I think, just with all the news coming out. If other banks go down because of bank runs, people had money in SVB. They might have money in similar banks, in competitors' banks, and they'll be worried that some similar situation might happen. So they may pull their funds from there as well, and that will cause a bank run on that bank, and it will just cause this cascading effect. So, of course, the US regulators had to bail out SVB Bank. If they didn't, it would just cause a complete nightmare. We'd be back in, not as bad as 2008, but we'll be going down that path, in my opinion. So, guys, that is what's happening with the stock market. That is fully up to date there. What am I doing? I'm continuing to buy. I'm continuing to sit on the sidelines and watch this happen. I'm buying more crypto than anything else. I am continuing to buy SNX, which is one of my favorite coins for the next bull market. SNX, I do think, is going to have a massive rally in the bull. As you can see, their all-time high is about $30-ish. And again, this isn't financial advice, by the way. I've put money that I can afford to lose in this. Most of my money, free capital, goes into the stock market, but I do play with crypto as well. I have a crypto business, so it makes sense for me to invest in things that I know in the crypto space. Guys, that's going to be it for the video. If you've enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.